Hi, Grammy TAPS here again, and I have something else to share with you. I want you to know that I love sharing with you things that I've learned and experiences that I've had. For example, today I want to talk to you about an emotion that everyone experiences sometimes in their lives. And sometimes we experience it many times, and that's the emotion of fear. Have you ever been afraid of something? Well, I want to tell you about a time when I was 11 years old and I was in 6th grade, and a friend of mine was having a birthday party. So she invited several girls and friends our age, and there were 12 of us, and we were having a slumber party. And so we all went to her home and we ate dinner, and after dinner, the doorbell rang. We opened the door, and there were like 3 or 4 boys there our age. They had heard that we were having a party, and they came and they crashed it. And they invited us to go for a walk with them. So we did. And this was in October, and so at this time of the evening, it was already dusk, and so it was a little, we could still see, but it was a little bit hard. And behind my friend's house was this big field, and it was just overgrown grass. The grass was about 2 feet tall, and it was dead and yellow. But in the middle of this field was a path to the other side. And so we were walking along the edge of the path, edge of the field, and we decided we wanted to go across the trail. And as we looked down the trail, we saw something at the far end. And as we looked at it, we couldn't see what it was, and it started moving. And somebody said, "I'm not walking down there, that's moving." And as we stood there and we talked about it, we didn't know what it was, but you know what happened? Our imaginations went wild with us. And somebody said, "Oh, it's just a dog, we're okay." And then somebody else said, "No, it's bigger than a dog. I think that might be a person waiting to jump us." And then somebody said, "No, I don't think anybody would do that. I bet it's a bear." A bear. Anyway, our imaginations kept getting wilder and wilder, and no one wanted to walk down that trail. Well, finally, I said, "Okay, I'll walk down the trail and I'll go see what it is, and then I'll tell you." Now, I was nervous because I didn't know what it was, and my mind, my imagination had developed things too. So I started walking down the trail, and then I heard someone say, "Terry, you can't go by yourself. I'll go with you." And as I turned around, my friend, who was taller than I was, started following me. She was walking behind me. And we walked down the trail, and everyone else stayed at the edge of the field. And as we got closer, it still was hard to make out what it was, but we walked right up to it. Do you know what it was? It was a big, empty cardboard box, and the flaps of the box were blowing in the wind because there was wind that night. That's what had scared us and kept us from walking down that trail. And we told our friends, "Hey, you can come, it's just an empty box." And they followed us across the trail. Our fears are a lot like that there's really nothing to them, but still they stop us from going places and from becoming the people that we're meant to become. Something else that I want to talk about that is that if you noticed, I made a choice. I was going to go out and look and see what it was. But did I go alone? No. A friend went with me. And so we made that trip together. And that's important. I want to share another experience I had with you this past week. I had surgery on my eyelids, and I don't know if you can see in the video, but my eyelids, they're bruised, and so they're kind of look like I have eyeshadow on there that's pink, and it opened up my eyes so that my eyes I look like I'm awake all the time now. But before I had the surgery, the doctor explained to me what he would do, and Grandpa was really nervous about me doing this. He was a little bit afraid, and he even searched online to find out about this surgery and the potential problems. And one of the problems he found is that sometimes when people have this surgery, they can't close their eyes all the way after it's done. And he was just sure that something was going to happen to my eyes. And he had to work the day that I had it done. And I was a bit nervous because I was just going to the doctor's office and he did it right there in his office. But I didn't go alone. My friend Donna went with me. In fact, Donna drove me, and she waited right there at the doctor's office until I was done. And then she drove me home. And it was a good thing because my vision was blurry afterwards. But the other thing is that before the surgery started, he again explained to me what he would do. And he said, and if you're afraid or if it hurts, he said, my assistant is right here and you can just grab her hand and hold it and squeeze it. Well, one of the things I really don't like shots. Ooh, I just get all queasy when I think I have to get a shot. And the doctor had to give me a shot in both eyelids. And it hurt. It really hurt. And then when he put the stitches in, that really hurt too. And so I was just really squeezing my hands like this. But the other thing I did is I started breathing really deeply like this. Trying to calm myself down because I was really kind of nervous and anxious about the pain, because pain can scare us as well. One of the purposes of fear is to protect us and to keep us safe. And we need to heed that when it will keep us safe. But there are other times when fear just stops us, and there's really nothing to be afraid of. So I want to share with you some things you can do when you're experiencing fear, because I know there will come a time in your life when you might have fear. For example, did you know that the number one fear is public speaking? And that's what I'm doing. I had to overcome that fear and just learn to talk in front of people and talk in front of a camera and to post it on the internet. Some people are afraid of spiders. Some people are afraid of snakes. Some people are afraid of heights. And some people are afraid of, they don't know what. It's just an object at the end of the trail. So let's come over here, and I want to share with you some things you can do if you're experiencing fear. The first thing is to recognize the fear. Recognize that you have it, and then identify it. Give a name to it. So like maybe say a fear of public speaking or a fear of spiders. And once we identify it and recognize it, then we're better able to know what to do about it. Now, one of the things, remember when I was at the doctor's office and he was cutting my eye or putting the needle in and stitching up my eye? I started breathing deeply. When we breathe deeply, that helps us to stay calm. And so that's important. So you can even practice doing that with me right now, okay? So breathe in through your nose and then breathe out through your mouth. Go. And do that one more time with me. So when we're afraid or we're nervous or we're anxious, that's something we can do, is just breathe deeply. And the second one is to stay calm. when we get all nervous and anxious, that just kind of increases the fear. So we want to make sure that we stay calm. And a third thing we can do is we can change our thoughts. Did you know that we have the power to control our thoughts? We can decide what we think and what we don't think. So if there's a thought in there that we don't like, we can just kind of let it go away and we can change it. For example, there was one time when I was in high school and I was in my typing class, and some boys decided that they wanted to scare the girls. So they brought this snake into the classroom, and all of a sudden I was typing and everybody jumped up, they screamed, "Ah!" And they ran out of the room. And I looked at those boys and I looked at that snake, and I told myself, I said, they're just trying to scare people. I'm going to act like I'm not afraid, and I'm just going to sit here. And so I'm the one that decided what I was going to think. So I continued typing, and they came right up to me, and they put that snake right in front of my face. And so I looked at it, and I reached up, and I petted it with one finger. And they looked at me surprised, and they said, "Aren't you afraid of it? Aren't you going to scream and run?" And I looked at them and I said, "No, it's only a snake, and it can't hurt me," because it was a harmless snake. And so I petted it again. And so I wasn't afraid of it. I told myself that I wasn't. We can do that with our thoughts. You can do that with yours. So if there's something you're afraid of, then you can change your thoughts. Now, something else, number 4, is talk to someone. Do you remember when I was walking along that trail? I didn't go alone, but my friend followed me and we walked together. And when I went to the doctor to have the surgery on my eyes, my friend Donna was there with me, so I could talk to her about it. And while the doctor was doing the surgery, even though he put the needle in my eyelids to make them numb so I didn't feel it, I was awake so I could talk to him and I could ask him what he was doing. And so he told me while he was doing the surgery exactly what he was doing. So when we talk to someone that we trust, a family member or a friend or someone, then that helps us to deal with the fear a little bit better. Now, something else we can do is pray. And I remember when I was a little girl, I was concerned about my parents when they weren't home, when I thought they should be home. And I prayed. And when I prayed, then I was calm and I was able to go to sleep. So all of these things are ways that you can handle the fear when you're facing it. Something else, just one other thing. I watched a video by this little boy about fear, and he said something else we can do. He said we can flick it in the nose and just say, "I'm not afraid of you." So for example, we could think of maybe a spider and just look at it and say, flick it in the nose and say, "I'm not afraid of you." And we can control those emotions and change it so that we're calm. I want you to know that you add value to my life. I am so glad you are part of my life. And I'm glad that I can share these things with you, because these are emotions that we're all going to experience. And I'm glad that I have Grandpa with me too, so I can talk to Grandpa and share things with him. And you know what? He shares things with me too, so we can help each other. And if there's something you're afraid of, I hope that you'll talk to me so I can help you. I love you. Until next time, this is Grammy TAPS, signing off.